black coaches now lead 50% of NBA teams. And the thing that hits me about this story is when Fish passed the story along to me, he said, I'm not sure if there's a story there or not. And I'm glad he kind of said that because I prefer that to him thinking there was a story there. Because to me, it's a non-story, but it makes you think. And the reason why I'm glad he asked that or phrased it like that is because I don't know the exact percentages, but we know that most of the NBA is made up of black players. And the fact that there would be black coaches over 50% is such an easy thing to see. We know a lot of players go into coaching after their career is over. And I think it's more natural. So to me, this is kind of a non-story for the simple fact I know the first thing people are thinking about is comparing it to the problems that we have in the NFL with the serious lack of not just ownership, which that's a problem in the NBA as well, but of coaches. There's a great number of black players in coaching in the NFL, but not head coaching. And I think that's probably why this story is relevant to some people. The first thing people think about is the problem that we have in the NFL. You can't compare this to the NFL. It's a different culture, total different culture. The NFL has complete control over everything. The NBA, the players kind of control what's going on a little bit. So it's a whole different thing. You're starting to see NFL players try to do the NBA thing, control where they're playing, control their contracts. But it's a whole different culture. So I wanted to point that out, but I think it's personally a non-story. It just seems very logical that it should be that way with so many players going from having a career to assistant coaching to head coaching. It doesn't surprise me at all. Skinner?
It's interesting you brought up the NFL versus the NBA because I saw a stat, and this doesn't really have to do with the black coaching. The least watched NFL playoff game this past year had 23.4 million viewers. That was the lowest. Game one of the finals for the
About
NBA,
8 million, wasn't it?
8.1 million.
Right.
Now, what is it? I mean, just think for a second what does that say? As far as the viewers, you talk about the NFL owns everything that they do. They own everything. They own all the sports, with as far as how they do, what they do. But as far as the coaching is concerned, I think it's a natural progression for NBA players that's all they've done is play basketball their entire lives. They learn, especially those that had good coaches during their careers of playing, they learn how to speak to the players, how to, the ins and outs, the X's and O's of games. I think it's a natural progression to go into coaching. So I'm not surprised at all that that's the case in the NBA.
Yeah. Fish?
Yeah, it just seems like they're hiring the best dude for the job. There's not really doesn't seem to be a minimum, or they're trying to meet a certain type of, I don't know, minimum diversity rule or this, that, and the other. It's simply who's going to relate to my players. I want a guy that can relate. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's who they're hiring. That's what it seems like to me, which is good, which is great. And a lot of them have good success.
A smaller group, first of all. Okay, you're dealing with 11 people, and so the one-on-one or the direct contact is a lot more prevalent in the NBA. Where in the NBA, you could go a long time and not even hardly speaking to your head coach. You could be a linebacker and deal with the linebackers coach or the defensive coordinator and not really even have a relationship with your head coach or even see your head coach. So it's a whole different culture, a whole different atmosphere. The NFL has got to get better at it, at doing this. We have too many great candidates for coaching that are black assistant coaches, and they're not getting the opportunities or not even getting the interviews. I didn't even talk about the jobs, but the interviews. The Rooney Rule has been a farce. They found ways to just make a joke out of that. So they got to get better at looking at the best player for a job. Eric Bieniemy of Kansas City should have been a head coach. You know, you got guys popping up nobody's ever heard of getting head coach's job, and you got a guy like Bieniemy's been running one of the top offenses the NFL has ever seen. So I don't know, kind of a non-story, but there is a story there. All right.
Hey, this is Skinner from It Came from GenX. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and like, and we'll see you next time.